What's going on, everybody? This is Cody, the home theater hobbyist, and today I want to give you my thoughts and impressions of the 2021 LG C1 OLED television. Now, I have done a couple of videos about this TV. The first one was me kind of going through my upgrade journey from plasma to 4K LCD TV to this TV, the OLED, right? And for those of you who watched and commented, thank you so much for commenting on that video, especially you plasma owners out there, because it really made me feel good knowing there were other people out there that are still enjoying their plasmas just like I do. But the second video was talking about, buying this TV at the end of the year and then hearing the 2022 announcements. Should I return it? Should I keep it? I just kind of talked to you guys about that. And there was a lot of good responses there as well. So thank you for commenting. And I will address, what my plans are with this TV at the end of this video. But in this video, I've spent a few weeks watching this television. I finally broke it in because you need like 50 hours or so on it before you can officially break it in. I think it's got somewhere around 90 hours on it now. But I've watched it and I have some thoughts. Is it the successor to plasma that I was looking for? What do I like about it? What don't I like about it? And that's what I want to talk about in this video. So if you are thinking about upgrading to OLED, or you have upgraded and you're thinking about a C1, C2, that sort of thing, that's the kind of stuff I want to talk about. So let's get to it. Now, to start off this video, first and foremost, if you enjoy this type of content, definitely give me a thumbs up because that helps me get found in the YouTube search algorithm. And also hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you can be alerted anytime I upload new content. If you want to purchase anything, use those links in the description below because it does help support the channel. I get a very small affiliate commission, which allows me to do things like buy equipment like cameras and stuff for the channel, and also gear to review. So I would greatly appreciate your support. So now let's talk about the design, because that's the first thing you're going to notice when you get this out of the box. I have the 77-inch, but the smallest version of this is 48 inches and the largest version is 83 inches. So you kind of have to pick the size that fits your room. I picked the 77 because that's what fits the spot that I want to put this in. Now, as with all TVs these days, this is super thin. I mean, it's a few millimeters thick up top here. Now, it does have electronics on the back, so the back of it gets a little bit wider, right? But honestly, I don't have any issues with how big this TV is, right? Like most people are like, it's thin enough, right? But I do like the way this is designed because it is both wall mountable and it also has a stand that you can sit on, and I have it on the stand right now. And I like that because for me, I can't really wall mount this TV where I want to put it. Now, that was one of the obstacles for me with the step up from this, the G1. The G1 is designed to be wall mountable. They do sell a separate stand that you can purchase to stand mount it, but it's designed to be wall mountable. Now, I could have bought it and kind of figured out a situation, but honestly, the C1 made it a little bit easier because it already comes with the stand. So that's a plus in my opinion. The other thing that I like about this particular stand is that it allows the sound to emanate to the front of your room, because the speakers are along the bottom. There's two speakers here and they're along the bottom of the television. So they hit this little stand and then they emanate out into the room. And that kind of brings me on to sound quality. Now, these speakers sound pretty good in my opinion for TV speakers. There's a lot of high end, a lot of treble, there's a lot of clarity in the mid range, and there is okay bass. And honestly, the bass in my opinion is really where this TV kind of falls down in the sound quality department. I did compare this to a Vizio soundbar that I have. It was, several years ago, maybe $100. So it's a pretty cheap 2-channel soundbar. And what I found was, again, this has decent clarity at the high end and in the mid range, but at the, at the low end, at the bass department, it doesn't really do that much. Whereas the Vizio soundbar was much fuller and richer at the bottom end, and it had better bass, but it wasn't as good at the top end. And so actually, let's go ahead, let's play a quick audio sample so you can hear the difference between the Vizio soundbar and the C1. Right there, the TV is a TCL 6 series from 2018. It's a 55-inch. I like it, but hopefully I'm going to upgrade that soon. Right here is the Panasonic UB820 4K UHD Blu-ray player. Love that player. And those are just a couple movies up there. Right here is the Denon AVR-X 4400H. Okay, so hopefully you could hear the difference between the C1 and that soundbar. And like I said, the C1 definitely has better high end, whereas that soundbar has better low end, has better bass performance, right? And to be honest with you, I would recommend that anybody, if you're going to go with this TV, you need to get some dedicated speakers, preferably at least a 2.1 system, so you have 2 speakers and a subwoofer to really give you good home theater and gaming performance. So that's just my recommendation. But like I said, these sound decent, but they are TV speakers. Okay, the other thing I want to talk about is this remote. I actually like it quite a bit because it feels nice in the hand. First of all, you've got a nice little ridge back here so you can rest your finger, and it has all the major features you want out of a remote, including number buttons up there. You got your volume up and down along with mute, a scroll wheel, and then you've got hot buttons so you can select things like Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, that sort of thing. And with the Magic Remote, it does have a little mouse, and I'll show you that in a minute, with the web interface. The one drawback of this remote is it's not all backlit. The power button is lit, so you can find the power button and turn the TV off, but I wish the rest of the buttons were backlit so you can see them in the dark. So I should probably talk about features for a minute to make sure we're all talking sort of the same language. Now, again, this is a 2021 TV, so it is a smart TV. You connect it to the internet, you can get various apps like Hulu, Disney Plus, Netflix, all the various apps, and watch them directly on this television. It's 4K with high frame rate up to 120 frames per second, and it's also a 120 hertz panel with variable refresh rate. It has all the what I'll call major HDR formats, including HDR10, HLG, Dolby Vision, and Dolby Vision IQ in the panel. It does not have HDR10 Plus, but I don't consider that to be a big miss because there's not a whole lot of HDR10 Plus content out there. The HDMI ports, there are 4 of them, and they are all HDMI 2.1 ports at 40 gigabits per second. So it does support all the latest game consoles, including the PS5 and the Xbox. It supports auto low latency mode, variable refresh rate. It also has a G-Sync and FreeSync built in. So if you're a gamer, you're pretty good with this particular television. And like I said, if you watch movies in high frame rate, it supports 120 frames per second. So it's got most of the features covered. So here we are on the home page of the television. The user interface here is WebOS 6.0. And as I move my remote left and right, you can see the mouse pointer there, so you can kind of see where I am. Up top, you've got, this weather locations, different notifications here, and then a search button there. And I like this interface because it's fast and fluid, but honestly, I do think it's a bit busy, a bit cluttered, because just here you've got like trending stuff, so you can select on different things and they take you to different services so you can watch these movies or TV shows or whatever. And then you have your app list down here, and you can kind of do the same thing. You can have different apps, and the good news is you can rearrange these for your most important apps to you. And then you have like your home dashboard, and you can select different TV inputs. You've got the free channels from LG, a web browser, and all of these things right here on the home page. But like I said, to me, it just seems to be a bit cluttered. Now, if you hit the settings button, obviously it'll take you to the TV settings, so you can go to all settings and, change your different picture modes and stuff like that. And like I said, I like it because it is fast and fluid, but I do think that the homepage is a bit cluttered. Moving on to picture quality, this is the big category, right? So this is an OLED, which means that it has self-lit pixels. Each and every pixel can turn off and on independently of the other pixels. So what that really gives you is basically infinite contrast ratio. So for instance, if you have a star field on the television and you've got these different little prinkly lights, next to that, you're going to have pixels that are completely off. So they're completely black. And that means that you don't have those halos and things like that you'll see with an LED TV that has the backlight or the zones or anything like that. You're not going to get that, right? You're going to have light pixel, dark pixel, however it works out, right? And it's going to look fantastic, right? When this TV goes black, when the pixels turn off, it is black. And honestly, this is the technology that we plasma owners are looking for, right? It just looks fantastic. Now, as for me, I watched this in cinema mode and also a filmmaker mode, and I kind of tweaked the settings a little bit, but this isn't totally dialed in. I still need to get this professionally calibrated, and I'll do that once I move it from here to its permanent position, right? I'll have it calibrated, and then I think honestly it's going to be even better, because what I'm expecting after calibration is for it to come out of black and be just that much better. So you get even more dark detail, and you already get a ton of detail just, going into filmmaker mode and kind of turning down the OLED brightness level down to like 25 or whatever, and just kind of messing around with the settings, right? You do get a lot of detail in the dark scenes, but I expect that once I have it calibrated, it's going to be basically near perfect, right? That's what I'm looking for. Now, I looked at a lot of content on this television, both in apps and also on disc. I looked at DVDs, Blu-rays, and 4K disc. And obviously and honestly, 4K disc looked the best, right? With Blu-ray coming up second and DVD looking the worst. It all looks good, right? But you just lack resolution. You also like the amount of colors that 4K can reproduce compared to a DVD, all of those things. So obviously you can watch DVDs on this television, but 4K UHD Blu-rays are going to look the best, along with, the different streaming services on your different streaming boxes, like the Fire TV Stick, the Roku's, Apple TV 4K. Those are going to look really good on this television. So that's a good thing. I also spent a little time watching some sports, and I found that sports looks good, but it still doesn't have that good motion of a plasma, because this is a 120 hertz panel and a plasma is like 600 hertz. So it still doesn't have that nice motion smoothness of a plasma, but it is better than a 60 hertz LCD panel, which is my other 4K TV. It's just 60 hertz, and you can definitely notice the motion kind of jutteriness with that particular panel, but this is definitely better. Not as good as plasma, but still better than a 60 hertz panel. Now, one of the movies that I did watch to test black performance was Skyfall, the James Bond movie from a few years ago. There's a scene where he's riding a boat into a casino, and the water's black, the sky's black, there's fireworks going off, and it's just inky black, and it just looks fantastic. As for brightness, one of the concerns that people have about OLEDs is they just don't get bright enough. They're concerned if I have a well-lit room, then I won't be able to see the TV. Well, I tested that out. I have a window behind me, so I open the curtains and the blinds and just watch TV during the day. I watched in both cinema mode and also in filmmaker mode. Didn't change any of the settings or anything like that. Watched it just like I would watch it at night. And I found this to be plenty bright. I didn't have any issues with that. Now, one of the things I did notice was that I could see reflections on the screen more. It does have an anti-reflective coating, but I could see reflections. So that to me was the most bothersome part. It wasn't that it wasn't bright enough. So I wouldn't be concerned about that if I were, in an average home, right? This is an average room. I didn't have any issues. As for gaming, I'm not a gamer, nor do I own the PS5 or the latest generation Xbox. So I did not test gaming performance on this television. But all of the reviews that I've read and watched say that gaming is really good on this TV, so I wouldn't worry about that. One other thing that people talk about is image retention or burn-in with OLEDs. Me personally, I have not seen that at all in the 90 hours I've been using this TV. And I honestly don't expect to see it. I know in 2016 there were some issues with the LG OLEDs and image retention, but each year they've been getting better with that particular technology. I've been following, the ratings. I think CNET's also doing a little bit of burn-in testing, long-term burn-in testing. So I've been following that, but honestly, I'm not concerned. My Panasonic Plasma doesn't have any burn-in, and I don't expect to see it here on this television. But if I do see it, I will definitely publish a video. So overall, I'm really happy with the C1. It looks fantastic when watching movies, when watching television. The only downside is the motion handling isn't quite as good as my Plasma, but otherwise it is a fantastic TV and I don't have any issues recommending it to anyone, Plasma owner or other. The only caveat, like I said, is the motion handling. This thing is fantastic. And as far as am I going to return it and wait for the G2 so I can get that heatsink? I don't think I'm going to do it, right? I really am enjoying this TV. I'm enjoying the larger screen size, so it's more immersive. And like I said, the blacks just look fantastic. Now, like I said, I think there's some benefits with that heatsink. So if you are thinking about upgrading and you want to, like a C2, G2, I'd go G2 to get that heatsink. But for me, I'm just going to hold on to this one and hopefully it works out and continues moving forward. But if you want to purchase this or anything else, use those links in the description below because they do help support the channel. Thank you for watching. I'll talk to you next time.